The movie begins as Cal Thomas and her mother, Ray, are grieving Lewis, who has passed away under strange circumstances. Lewis is Cal's dad and Ray's husband, and before his passing, he was an extraordinary and well-liked physics teacher. As Cal searches through his things in his study, she finds a mysterious stereoscope and spends time observing it. One day, as she looks through its lens, she discovers that she can see other dimensions. She sees a variant of her mom being attacked by a dark, grotesque creature. She watches on in shock until the creature senses and snarls at her. Unknown to Cal, the longer she stares through the lens, the more the veils between different worlds thin out. Cal has nightmares that night due to witnessing the strange creature's attack. But this doesn't deter her as she's obsessed with her quest for knowledge, and she sifts through her father's research. She discovers that the creature is dubbed the Reek, and that she can see and hear things from other dimensions using the stereoscope. Her research session is interrupted by a visit from her Aunt Meg, but as soon as Meg leaves, Cal dives back in. She uses the stereoscope, or scope for short, to watch other variants of her dad, mom, and herself from another dimension. As she is using the device, the air in the kitchen shimmers. Her mom happens to be in the kitchen and notices this. The Reek jumps at Cal through the scope, and a frightened Cal immediately disconnects it. Meanwhile, her mother, Ray, fears that her experience in the kitchen is a result of the grief-induced stress. The mother and daughter are experiencing a hard time processing their loss. Cal thinks her mother wants to forget Lewis and move on completely, but Ray thinks it's best not to dwell on the past, but rather carry the past forward, one step at a time, because they don't meet their minds on this issue. Their relationship suffers, but one thing connects them without their realization. Both women are frightened or experiencing nightmares flowing from Cal's use of the stereoscope. One day, as Cal goes to her dad's barn, she uses the scope again. This time, her session is long enough to allow the Reek to materialize from shimmering air. Reek appears in the main house and chases Ray up the stairs. Luckily, Cal removes a disc from the scope before any harm is done, and the creature disappears before Ray's eyes. Ray cries out loud and pitiably declares that she is not crazy. She then runs to Lewis's study to take comfort in his memory, but there she sees images of the same creature that just attacked her. She immediately tears down the images and packs out the textbooks and notes. Meanwhile, at the barn, Cal meets with a strange boy named Drew. Drew is from a house at the opposite side of the secluded ranch, where Cal and her mother dwell. He knows about the creature, and he states that her father from Dimension 5 taught him about it. He also strangely mentions that Cal's real dad is alive somewhere. As they talk, Cal sees smoke coming from her house. Fearing for her mom's safety, she runs back in order to find out the source of the smoke. To her utter devastation, her mom is burning up all of her dad's research. The women once again enter into a bitter row. Then the scope falls from Cal's person. Ray sees it and recognizes that it was once the obsession of her late husband. She remembers that the scope gradually poisoned the intimacy she felt with Lewis. She then grabs the device and tosses it in the fire. Cal is so upset that she refuses to even look at her mother. To Cal, this is the one chance to see her dad, and her mother just took it away from her. That night, Cal refuses to eat dinner with her mother. Instead, she sneaks out to the place Drew claimed to be his home. As she gets there, the house is empty, but yet disheveled. Ray picks up on the fact that her daughter is left home. She confronts Cal in the empty building and warns her never to run from home again. Cal, who is deep in her feelings, also lashes out. Cal screams that she is tired of spending her whole life worrying about Ray's mental health, while Ray just up and does whatever she likes. Ray replies that that statement is not fair. Cal, in response, points out the fact that Ray wants to sell their secluded house, even though it was Lewis's favorite place in the world. She points out how Ray has burned all of her father's research work. She then points out how Ray even burnt the scope, which is the only thing that could bring him back. On hearing the last statement, Ray is heartbroken because she thinks her daughter is getting crazy. She begs her daughter to accept the fact that Lewis is gone. She says that they have to accept it, even if it is a bitter pill to swallow. The women end their conversation on a sour note. That night, Cal's sleep is disturbed by strange sounds. Turns out that Drew has snuck into her room. He then gives her the stereoscope, which is in good condition. He states that fire cannot hurt it. Cal is glad for this. She then asks Drew again about her father's status. Drew confirms that Lewis is alive. Drew states that her father is the only person who might know how to destroy the creature, and he needs Cal's help to find him. As their conversation continues, Cal declares that she is not scared of the Reek. Drew says that she should be. He explains that the Reek eliminated everyone he loved back in his world, and that he is lucky to be alive. He recalls how Cal's real dad saved him when he was almost Reek fodder. Lewis lured the beast away from Drew, and managed to send it back to a place called the Veil, by disconnecting a disc from the scope. Drew then warns Cal that if the Reek comes through the Veil, her world will fall like his did. Just then, Ray bangs on Cal's bedroom door, demanding that Cal open it. When Drew suggests that they let Ray in on the issue, Cal dismisses his suggestion by stating that he doesn't know her mother. She then tells him to go back to the barn where they first met, and that she would meet him in 20 minutes. It is only when Drew has left the room through the window that Cal opens the door for her mom. Ray had heard their voices. She asks Cal to speak the truth, but Cal lies that there was no one else in her room, thereby suggesting that Ray is crazy. Ray's already shaken mental health takes yet another hit. Meanwhile, her daughter sneaks out to meet Drew. Cal is surprised to learn that they have to enter another dimension instead of just looking. Drew insists that merely looking leaves the veil open, risking the Reek escaping, while going in reduces this danger. He adds that they can't rescue Lewis without entering. Cal then agrees. They hold hands as she clicks the device in a certain way, and the duo goes to Dimension 4. They materialize in Dimension 4's variant barn, but something is wrong. Drew notes it looks identical to Dimension 5, which is a bad sign, as the Reek has devastated that world. He suspects overusing the scope has weakened the veil. Through the fog, they make their way to his home in the 4th dimension. A variant of Drew's mom lies lifeless on the floor. Drew quickly covers her out of respect. He insists they must leave, but Cal disagrees, stating that she won't go without her dad. Meanwhile, a shimmering veil appears in Thomas's family home. Ray fears she's losing her mind and calls Meg to take Cal. She once fought to keep her daughter, a long-standing conflict between them. But after the chaos in Cal's room and the veil's haunting presence, she finally concedes, believing she's unfit to raise her own child. The scene shifts to Cal and Drew as they barely escape the Reek. While strategizing, Cal learns that Dimension 5's Lewis had used the scope to send the real Lewis away, taking his place. The imposter sought refuge in a stable world to study the Reek, which lurks between dimensions, after his own was destroyed. This revelation clarifies Ray's deep unease about the scope and why she believes it poisoned her relationship with Cal's real father. Cal is so miffed by this revelation that she asks Drew to stay away from her, or else she would use the scope to send him back to Dimension 5. The scene shifts to Ray, who is ready to hand Cal over to Meg. She goes to Cal's room to talk things over, but on getting there, she discovers that her daughter is missing. She then sees Cal's notes detailing the Reek's connection to the scope. The notes jog Ray's memories, and for the first time in a long time, she doesn't doubt her sanity. Cal comes back to her original dimension, and it seems she leaves Drew behind. She finds her mother waiting with a newfound understanding of things. The two women hug things out, but unfortunately, Cal discovers that she has lost the disc connected to the scope. Aunt Meg attempts to cajole Cal to come with her, but Cal refuses. She has decided to stay with her mother so that they could work together and bring back their Lewis. Meg is stupefied and leaves in disappointment. Meanwhile, Drew finds his way back and begs to help the Thomas women find their Lewis. He promises to help, and that the only thing he wants in return is to bury the scope when they rescue Lewis. Ray and Cal, after much deliberation, agree to accept his proposal. The three of them move from Dimension 1 to Dimension 3. In Dimension 3, they see variants of Cal, Ray, and Lewis. The variants are so similar and yet so different from them. The Reek has already started invading Dimension 3, and the Lewis there threatens to off Cal, Ray, and Drew with a rifle if they do not hand over the scope and its disc. He wants to use the device to escape with his family. Cal, out of fear for her life, hands it over. As Lewis operates it, he inadvertently lures the monster in, and all hell breaks loose. Variant Cal is impaled and passes on to the afterlife. It soon gets the other variants and gobbles them down too. Drew manages to retrieve the scope and disc. He helps Ray and her daughter escape, but he pays with his life. Ray manages to escape Dimension 3 with her daughter, but the duo lands in Dimension 5. There, the Reek finds them and attacks. Ray manages to lure the beast away from her daughter and almost gets slain, but a mysterious man saves her by shooting at the beast with his rifle. When the beast disappears, the man comes out of the shadows and is revealed to be the real Lewis. The trio has a heartfelt reunion. Cal wants to go back and get the scope because she lost it in a house as they were fighting for their lives, but Lewis tells her that they will get it back at the right time and with a solid plan. They head to Lewis's hideout and regroup. As they head back out, Lewis's role is to distract the beast, while the women find the disc. They struggle for a considerable amount of time, but their plan eventually works. The family returns to their original dimension. As they materialize in Dimension 1, they meet Meg. Meg is so stunned to see her brother, whom she believed had passed after all this time. As they are hugging, a veil shimmers and the Reek breaks through. The family enters Meg's car in a bid to drive off in a hurry, but Cal remembers from her past encounters with the monster that, for some reason, close contact with the scope affects it negatively. So she runs out of the car, and the beast follows her. As it's about to take a bite at her skin, Cal jams the scope into its mouth. The beast convulses and then disappears. Days later, the family celebrates their victory, relishing their time together. As the movie ends, a massive veil, the largest yet, appears and looms near the Thomas family's home.